Welcome to a story that will not just entertain you, but teach you, inspire you, and help you improve your English. This is not just about Brad Pitt. This is about pain, fame, rejection, love, heartbreak, struggle, success, and everything in between. You're about to hear a story that teaches how to survive when the world says no, how to stand strong when you're heartbroken, and how to keep going even when life is unfair. You'll also learn real English in a natural way, through emotions, events, and powerful vocabulary. So stay till the end, because this might just be the most powerful story of your life. And if you love stories that are simple, emotional, and improve your English, don't forget to subscribe. Let's begin. Part 1. Brad Pitt's early life. Brad Pitt was born on December 18, 1963 in Shawnee, Oklahoma, but he was raised in Springfield, Missouri. His full name? William Bradley Pitt. From the outside, his life looked normal. A small-town boy, a church-going family, good manners, a smile that made people say, "He's a nice kid." But behind that smile, Brad carried storms. His father, William Pitt, owned a trucking company and was known to be strict, demanding, and some say emotionally distant. Brad once said his dad pushed him to be strong, to never show weakness. His mother, Jane Pitt, was a school counselor, gentle and loving. Brad was close to her, but still, there was always pressure to be perfect. He grew up with a brother, Doug, and a sister, Julie. The house was quiet. Not much affection. Brad learned early to keep his feelings inside. Brad didn't grow up dreaming of movies or Oscars. He actually studied journalism at the University of Missouri. He was good at it, smart, focused. But something was missing. Every night, he would go home, turn on movies, and get lost in stories. He loved acting, but never said it out loud. In Missouri, becoming an actor sounded like a joke. 2 weeks before graduation, Brad made a bold decision. He dropped out. No degree, no job, just one goal, Hollywood. He packed his car, took $325, and drove to Los Angeles. He told his parents, "I'm going to study at an art school." But really, he was chasing his secret dream, and no one knew. Hollywood was not kind to Brad Pitt. He lived in a cheap apartment with very little money. To survive, he did odd jobs. He wore a chicken costume and stood outside a fast food place. He delivered fridges. He drove strippers to parties. He handed out flyers on the street. Imagine this: a handsome young man in a chicken suit sweating under the sun just to survive. Every day he went to auditions, and every day he got rejected. "You're not good enough. You're just a pretty face." Those were the words he heard. But Brad kept going. He joined acting classes and learned from a coach who believed in him. Slowly, he started to understand acting, not just smiling, but feeling, breaking, becoming someone else. In these early years, Brad was lonely, far from home, no real friends, no success. He started going to parties. In Hollywood, drugs were everywhere, and Brad, young and unsure, got pulled in. He later said, "I wasted a lot of time. I was trying to escape." But even in that darkness, he kept acting. He believed something would happen. And then, it did. In 1991, Brad got a small role in the movie Thelma and Louise. He was on screen for just 7 minutes. But the world noticed. His smile, his charm, his confidence. Suddenly, everyone asked, "Who is that guy?" From a chicken suit to Hollywood's most wanted. But this was just the beginning. Part 2. From that guy to global star, fame, fire, and the heavy price of beauty. Brad Pitt didn't just arrive, he exploded. After Thelma and Louise, 1991, people in Hollywood said, "He's not just a pretty face, there's something there." But Brad knew, 7 minutes of fame isn't enough. He needed more than charm. He needed roles that mattered. So he chose carefully. He didn't jump into silly romantic comedies. Instead, he picked gritty, bold, and painful films. In 1992, he starred in A River Runs Through It, a film about brothers, life, and regret. His performance was soft, emotional, real. People saw him not just as beautiful, but as someone who could act. But fame came fast. Too fast. Brad once said, "Fame is a monster. It looks beautiful, but it eats you slowly." He couldn't go out, couldn't be normal. Paparazzi followed him everywhere. He was named Sexiest Man Alive in 1995 by People magazine, and again in 2000. The world wanted his face, his hair, his abs. But no one asked, "Are you okay?" Behind the scenes, Brad was struggling. He said he felt like an empty shell. Too much attention, not enough peace. He started using marijuana to escape. He said, "I was hiding out. I was wasting time." It wasn't addiction, but it was avoidance. A man losing himself in silence. In 1994, Legends of the Fall hit theaters. Brad played Tristan Ludlow, a wild, emotional, broken man. Women fell in love. Men respected him. And Hollywood finally said, "This guy's not just a face, he's a force." Then came Seven, 1995, with Morgan Freeman. Dark, violent, disturbing. Brad played a detective chasing a serial killer. And that ending, "What's in the box?" became one of the most iconic movie moments ever. During this time, Brad's personal life was on fire, literally. In 1994, he started dating Gwyneth Paltrow. They were Hollywood's golden couple. Beautiful, rich, famous. They got engaged. Everyone said they were perfect. But behind the scenes, it wasn't easy. Brad wanted peace. Gwyneth wanted excitement. They broke up in 1997. Brad later said, "I wasn't ready. I messed it up." In 1999 came the film that made Brad Pitt a cultural symbol, Fight Club. He played Tyler Durden, a rebel, a destroyer of fake lives, a symbol of anti-consumerism. His body, iconic. His attitude, dangerous. His message, clear. The things you own end up owning you. Brad trained for months. No sugar, no comfort, only discipline. He didn't just act, he became the role. The movie didn't make money at first, but over time, it became a cult classic. People started seeing Brad not just as an actor, but as a voice of his generation. In 2000, Brad married Jennifer Aniston. She was the queen of TV, Friends, and he was Hollywood royalty. Their wedding was beautiful, fireworks, lights, smiles. But under the glitter, things were not perfect. Brad wanted to do more serious roles. Jennifer wanted a family. In 2004, Brad met Angelina Jolie on the set of Mr. and Mrs. Smith. The chemistry was real and dangerous. Rumors exploded. In 2005, Brad and Jennifer divorced. The media went wild. Team Jen versus Team Angie. Brad was judged, loved, hated, but he stayed silent. After Jennifer, Brad fell deeply in love with Angelina Jolie. They adopted children from Cambodia, Ethiopia, and Vietnam. They had biological children too. Brad became a father of 6. He said, "I finally felt like a man." He also became deeply involved in humanitarian work, helping rebuild New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina, funding hospitals, and traveling to war zones with Angelina. But fame never left them alone. Their home was filled with love, but also pressure, media, and personal differences. In 2016, Brad and Angelina separated. It was public, messy, painful. There were reports of arguments, drinking, and even child protection investigations. Brad later admitted, "I was drinking too much. I hurt people I love. I had to change." He entered therapy, quit alcohol, focused on his kids, started to rebuild his life. In 2019, Brad starred in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood with Leonardo DiCaprio. He played a stuntman, quiet, powerful, calm. His performance was flawless. He won the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor. On stage, holding the golden statue, he said, "This is for my kids who color everything I do. I love you." It wasn't just a win, it was a redemption. He smiled on stage. He thanked his kids. He was humble. But inside, he was still healing. Because pain doesn't disappear with fame. It hides behind golden statues, red carpets, and smiling photos. In interviews after the Oscar, Brad opened up in a way he never had before. He said, "I had taken things as far as I could take it, so I removed my drinking privileges." Brad had been drinking heavily during his final years with Angelina. Not every day, but enough to make him feel out of control. Enough to break the people he loved. Enough to scare himself. After their separation, Brad started therapy, real therapy. And he didn't hide. He told the world about it. He said it helped him understand something important. His childhood wounds were never healed. He'd spent his whole life pretending to be strong, trying to please his strict father, trying to be the good boy in the family, trying to be what Hollywood wanted. Handsome, charming, perfect. But inside, he had been scared, lonely, always proving himself, never feeling enough. Brad also admitted he had suffered from depression. He said, "I spent years with a low-grade depression, just drifting through life." He smiled in interviews, made millions in movies. But when the lights were off, he felt empty. He realized he had no real emotional connection, not with himself, not even with his feelings. So he started to rebuild. Piece by piece, he cut out alcohol. He started sculpting. Yes, Brad Pitt, the movie star, began sculpting metal in his garage. Brad said he found peace in quiet hobbies. He started pottery, architecture, and sculpture. No cameras, no audience. Just hands, metal, and focus. He said, "I'm making art because I need silence. I need to heal." In a world that asked him to talk, perform, smile, he chose silence. That's how he found himself again. He also started listening to people more. He said, "I think the greatest thing an actor can do is listen, not just to lines, but to people, pain, and life." Brad has 6 children. 1, Maddox, 2nd Pax, Trady Zahara, 4, Shiloh, Piatti Knox, 6, Vivian, 3 adopted, 3 biological. Brad has said that being a father was the most important role of his life, but also the most difficult. He missed birthdays. He wasn't always present. There were fights, court cases, media madness. Brad said he regrets not being emotionally open with his children when they were younger. But he is trying every single day to rebuild those bridges. He said, "My kids know who I am, and I know they're watching. So I want to show them what healing looks like." In his 50s, Brad became more spiritual, not religious in the traditional way, but thoughtful. He reads philosophy, listens to opera, and surrounds himself with artists, thinkers, and humble friends. One of his closest friends is David Fincher, who directed Fight Club 7 and The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. Fincher once said, "Brad is one of the most misunderstood people in Hollywood. He's not flashy, he's deep, he's kind, and he's always growing." Brad also became close to actor Bradley Cooper, who helped him get sober. At the National Board of Review Awards, Brad publicly thanked him, saying, "I got sober because of this guy, and every day has been happier since." Brad's company, Plan B Entertainment, produced some of the greatest films of the 2000s and 2010s. 12 Years a Slave Oscar winner, The Big Short, Moonlight, Minari. But there were also failures, movies that flopped, ideas that didn't work, relationships that collapsed. Brad said, "I used to think success meant winning. Now I think it means being real." One of the biggest battles between Brad and Angelina wasn't just emotional, it was financial. They once bought a beautiful vineyard in France called Chateau Miraval. They got married there in 2014. It was their dream property. But in 2021, Angelina sold her share, without Brad's permission, to a Russian billionaire. Brad filed a lawsuit. He said, "This wasn't just business. This was our home, our legacy." The court battle is ongoing. This vineyard, once a symbol of love, became a battlefield. It shows how even the most beautiful things can become painful memories. Despite all this, Brad Pitt isn't angry. He's calm. Today, at 60, Brad is evolving. He wears loose linen clothes, attends art shows, drives electric bikes, and avoids loud parties. He's often spotted alone, reading, drawing, or quietly observing. People who meet him now say, "He's peaceful, like a man who's lived through a storm and survived." He no longer tries to control his image. He lets people think what they want, but inside, he knows who he is. He said, "I'm not chasing anything anymore. I'm just living." After his divorce, Brad stayed single for a long time. Rumors came and went: Jennifer Aniston, Charlize Theron, Aaliyah Shawkat. But Brad kept quiet. In 2022, he was linked to Inez de Ramon, a jewelry designer. They've been seen together, smiling, holding hands, staying out of the spotlight. Brad hasn't confirmed anything, but friends say he's finally at peace in love. Not fireworks, not drama, just peace. Even at 60, Brad Pitt continues to surprise us. Some of his notable projects after 2020 include Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, 2019, won an Oscar. Ad Astra, 2019, a deep, emotional sci-fi about fathers and sons. Bullet Train, 2022, fun, action-packed, with Brad playing a reluctant assassin. Babylon, 2022, a wild film about old Hollywood, controversial, bold, and unforgettable. He's also working behind the scenes, producing films that give voice to unheard stories. His company Plan B is helping new directors, minorities, and storytellers rise. Brad has become a fashion icon. At Cannes Film Festival, he wore a skirt. In photo shoots, he mixes elegance with rebellion. He's not afraid to look different. He's not afraid to age. He once said, "I don't care about looking young. I care about being real." Brad Pitt once wore a chicken costume to survive. Now he wears confidence, calm, and quiet dignity. This is not the story of a man who had it easy. This is the story of a man who broke, burned, bled, and still kept going. Today, Brad Pitt's estimated net worth is over $400 million. But this didn't come easy. Let's break down where it comes from. Movies as an actor. Over $300 million earned from acting alone. From early roles like Fight Club to blockbusters like World War Z, he charged between $10 to $30 million per film. Producer income, Plan B Entertainment. His production company produced Oscar-winning films like 12 Years a Slave, The Big Short, Moonlight, Minari. This company earned millions in profits, but more importantly, it built his reputation as a man of substance, not just style. Real estate. Brad owns several properties. 1. Los Feliz Mansion, California. His main home, worth $40 million, filled with art, music rooms, and hidden gardens. 2. Chateau Miraval, France. A luxury estate and vineyard, currently in a legal battle, worth over $160 million. 3. Beach House, Santa Barbara. A peaceful hideaway near the ocean. 4th, mid-century modern mansion, Carmel, California. Worth $40 million, one of the most expensive in the area. Cars and bikes. Brad doesn't collect just for show. He's a real motorhead. His collection includes Tesla Model S, Chevrolet Camaro SS, Audi Q7, BMW Hydrogen 7, multiple custom Ducati motorcycles, vintage bikes like the Indian Larry, a private jet. Brad lives mostly alone now, but he's not sad. He wakes up early, he drinks coffee, reads philosophy, walks in his garden, he sculpts metal, listens to jazz, writes poems sometimes. He doesn't chase the spotlight. The spotlight now chases him. He has no personal assistant, no loud parties, just peace. What makes him so respected? Not just talent, not just beauty. It's his brutal honesty, even when it made him look weak. It's the fact that he said, "I hurt people I loved. I drank too much. I wasn't a good father, but I wanted to change, and I did." That's strength. Brad showed us that. You can be broken and still be beautiful. You can lose yourself and still find your way back. You can age and still be relevant. You can be rich, famous, and still say, "I need help." Brad's routine is quiet, grounded, and intentional. Morning. Wakes up by 6:30 a.m. No phone, just water, meditation, stretching. Walks barefoot in the garden. Black coffee, no sugar, reads or writes. Sometimes plays guitar. Daytime, work calls, scripts, production. Lunch, mostly clean, vegetarian-based meals. Sculpting or visiting art studios. Gym, simple workouts, bodyweight exercises. Plays with his dog or goes on a solo ride. Evening, tea or wine, alcohol-free now. No social media. Dinner alone or with close friends. Classical music or foreign films. Sleeps by 10 p.m. He lives like a student of life, not a superstar. Brad has said in interviews that he regrets hurting Jennifer, not being emotionally available to his kids early, losing years to addiction, chasing success too blindly in his 30s. But he's also grateful for every mistake, every heartbreak, every role that changed him. Every day he wakes up and chooses peace over pride. Brad Pitt is more than a movie star. He is a symbol of what it means to fall, break, lose everything, and still choose to rise again. He had money, beauty, fame, but also pain, loneliness, and regret. He made mistakes. He hurt people. He ran from his feelings. He chased success and ignored his soul. But then, he stopped. He looked in the mirror and said, "I can't live like this anymore." And that was the moment his real story began. What can we learn from Brad Pitt's life? 1. It's okay to fall. Everyone makes mistakes. What matters is if you stand back up. 2. You don't have to be perfect to be powerful. Brad was flawed, broken, and still became legendary. 3. Success means nothing if your soul is empty. Find your peace, not just your paycheck. 4. Healing takes time, but it's never too late. Brad found his true self in his 50s. You still have time. 5. Being honest with yourself is the most powerful decision you'll ever make, not just in Hollywood, but in life. And to everyone listening, if you're feeling lost, tired, or not good enough, remember Brad Pitt was once in a chicken costume, delivering fridges, rejected, heartbroken, addicted, judged, and misunderstood. But he kept going. He chose growth. He chose healing. And so can you. You are not your past. You are your next decision. So take this story as a mirror, not just of Brad's life, but of your own potential. Start over. Forgive yourself. Be real. Be kind. And keep going. Because one day, someone will hear your story and say, if they can survive that, maybe I can too. Thank you for watching. If this story touched your heart or helped your English, please subscribe. More powerful stories are coming because your life deserves a voice. See you in the next story. Until then, keep learning, keep healing, and never give up.